Squid Games has gotten a lot of attention on Roblox. But did you know it's actually based on a real life scenario? At least that's what the internet is saying. So yeah, there's this video here called The Real Squid Game 1986. And these are supposed real pictures of the actual Squid Games. Yeah, there's even these pictures with people wearing similar tracksuits, and then here's a supposed picture of one of the games being played. Now, I found someone talking about these real-life games. Let's take a look here.
Did you know Squid Game's actually based on true events from the 80s? It's all based around the 1986 Brothers House incident in Korea, where an orphanage was essentially turned into the Squid Game. Founded in 1960, the Brothers House orphanage ran normally until 1986. A billionaire adopted all the kids and then bought the orphanage and locked them all in it, hiring workers that hid their face like this and forced these children in blue jumpsuits to play kids games. And if you're wondering, you didn't want to lose. The creator of Squid Game claims that it was not based on anything, but this is in the TV show where the guards sleep, and this is at the Brothers House where they kept the children. Also, these were the Squid Game guards, and these were the guards in the real life. Now, you can look this up for yourself. This is actually one of the worst human rights violations in history. But weirdly, around 2020, it was kind of scrubbed from the internet, with many people theorizing Netflix did this in order for the Squid Games to be posted as normal. This is until some survivors of the Brothers House started speaking up this year. They started realizing how awfully similar the Squid Games looks and plays just like the Brother House. Squid Games denies there's any influence or ties to this, but I want to know what your thoughts are because I think there is.
Alright, so this guy is saying a lot of real facts, but at the same time he's saying a lot of fake information. So what he's talking about is the Brothers Home, which was a welfare center for people without homes. It was promoted by the government for people to have a second chance. So yes, a lot of homeless people and orphans were sent to this place, but then it was revealed there's a lot of bad things happening in this place. No, they weren't playing any games to survive. It was nothing like that. It was a lot of manual labor that was going on, but yes, people were trapped in here. And what's crazy is that a lot of people from the outside did not know what was going on around here. Yeah, it wasn't until 1986 when people started to investigate the situation. There was photos of guards with baseball bats watching the labor workers. So no, they weren't dressed in like this pink outfit. Their faces were fully shown and everything. There were guard dogs keeping watch, people trapped in cages. So yeah, once this information got out, it was immediately shut down. And an interesting fact is that one of the people that was imprisoned here was Chu Do-hwan, who ended up becoming the 5th president of South Korea. So the Brothers Home, were people playing for their lives? Were there any games in there? No, they're doing forced manual labor. It was still very cruel what they did inside there, but the games are not real. And as for this image from that one other TikTok, yeah, that is a real life game of chess, but that was taken in the Palace Square of the Soviet Union. And no, if you lost, you didn't die. And then as for all these videos about the real life Squid Games, yeah, if it wasn't obvious, it's all completely AI. Don't let it actually fool you. But it did get me curious, were there any real life death games where people's lives were actually at stake for the sake of a game? Well, what you're looking at here is a baseball team full of death row inmates. And this was formed back in 1910, where as long as they kept winning, they got to keep living. Pretty dark if I'm being honest. And I know what you're thinking, what did that kid do to deserve death row? He was just a mascot. The team captain, who was also on death row by the way, would often tell the players that if they did badly in any of the games that they would get time added to their sentence. And he also started a rumor that somebody else had escaped death penalty through playing these baseball games. And now rumors started spreading and the government didn't really want to make murderers into like celebrities, so they ended up canning the whole thing and made an educational program instead. But the team did end up playing a total of 4 games and winning all those games. Unfortunately for the team captain, he did get executed afterwards. And I'm not going to show this picture, but for whatever reason, they made shoes out of his skin. But there are death games that date even earlier than that, and they can also be found on Roblox, and that's the time of the gladiators. Now, we all know the idea of gladiators. It's a battle taken inside a coliseum in ancient Rome where you literally put people against each other, seeing which one of them lived and which one died. Many of the fighters being either slaves or prisoners. But how true is this exactly? Well, it is true that a lot of them were prisoners or slaves, and some records show that the first gladiator battles took place in the year 310 BC. Now, were they actually fighting for their lives and killing each other in battle? Well, no, not exactly. All of these Roblox games and movies are highly exaggerated, and the idea of gladiators was more so for sport. Think of a gladiator like a boxer. They train really hard for every single battle, and then once it became obvious that one of the fighters was about to lose, they'd call off the match. Now, some gladiators would end up dying in battle, but that was mostly due to severe wounds. They would often fight with blunt or dummy weapons, sometimes even using wooden swords. Now, that's not to say that there were some death battles happening. I mean, sometimes they would put people going up against a tiger or lions. Now, like I said, most gladiators were either slaves or prisoners, many of which did not like it, but they were told if they kept winning, they would be granted their freedom. Now, it is said that a few gladiators have survived more than 10 contests, with majority gladiators only having a lifespan of 18 through 25 years of age. But there were some gladiators who did enjoy the fights. Ones like the legendary Flama. He was more than likely forced into slavery and then went into gladiator school. Yes, that's a thing. And he was so good in his fights that he was awarded the Rudius, which was a wooden sword that would grant gladiator slaves their freedom. Yeah, he got that 4 different times, but each time he refused the freedom and chose to remain a gladiator instead. Yeah, out of the 34 times that he fought, he won 21 of them, whereas most gladiators would fight less than 5 times and then be done. Yeah, what's also weird and kind of sad to read is that on his Wikipedia here, it says that he achieved an old age for a gladiator, dying at age 30 while many died in their early 20s. Yeah, that is insane, but not as insane as the real life Saw scenario, otherwise known as the Pizza Bomber events. A lot of us know Saw from the movies and even in Roblox games, where people are usually strapped with a weird device that is incredibly dangerous, and yeah, that actually happened in real life. So the story goes is that a pizza man, Brian Wells, received a call for a pizza delivery. He went to go deliver the pizza, but then went missing. After some time, he was later found robbing a bank wearing a bomb strapped around his neck. He would end up robbing the bank, and then as he was escaping, got stopped by the police. He tried to tell them there was a bomb strapped to his neck, and before they could remove it, the bomb did go off, and Brian did end up dying. So yeah, some more context to the story. He worked at Mamma Mia's pizzeria, and then went over to this house where his abductors would strap him with the bomb and give him a full to-do list. And if he failed to follow any of these instructions, they would set the bomb off. So yeah, the first instructions has him arrive at a McDonald's. Apparently these first few points had some notes on his next instructions, but the main part goes with him robbing the bank. Yeah, they wanted him to rob the bank and get $250,000. Yeah, there's even a note here that says enforce demands with your weapon and bomb. I guess he had a weapon at the time as well. Yeah, it says here do not leave bank without money or you will die. Yeah, unfortunately Brian only managed to get $8,000. Yeah, there's even a warning here that says we are following you and watching you at all stops. There's only one way you can survive, and that is to cooperate completely, with the bottom note even saying act now, think later, or you will die. Now, according to investigators, they did state that Brian Wells was a willing participant in the robbery, but he was told that the bomb was fake. I guess the people behind the scenario wanted to get rid of any witnesses. But yeah, it was definitely one of the crazier scenarios, and also a crazy death trap. Also, speaking of crazy death traps, you all know the anime Sword Art Online. It's all over Roblox as well. If you don't know the concept, pretty much it's an anime about a video game where players would put on these VR headsets, but then once they put them on, if they died in the game, they died in real life. And if they tried to take off their headset, they would also die. So they're forced to play the game. Well, someone actually made that into a reality. And that someone is actually the same creator of the Oculus VR headset. Yeah, so he made this special headset here with 3 explosive charge modules aimed at the player's brain. Should the player lose the game they're playing, the modules would fire, instantly destroying the brain of the player. Yes, he even further stated that the lethal headset was inspired by the anime Sword Art Online. Now, obviously, no one's using this headset, at least for right now. It's just a piece of office art for him, a thought-provoking reminder of the unexplored avenues in game design. It is also, as far as I know, the first non-fiction example of a VR device that can actually kill the user. But he does leave the fans with some chilling words, stating, it won't be the last. Yeah, I feel like it's only going to get crazier from here. But yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye!